Good evening. You're watching CNN News 18. I'm Arunima. Top focus: Maharashtra government has decided against imposing a complete lockdown for now. Details ahead. But first, let me take you to Union Home Minister Amit Shah's residence, where that crucial review meeting has just begun. Home Minister Amit Shah is presently holding a high-level meeting at his residence in Delhi on the Naxal situation after what has happened in Chhattisgarh's Bijapur. Shah cut short his Assam visit to return to Delhi in the backdrop of the encounter in which 22 security personnel were martyred. One is still unaccounted for. At least 10 Naxals were killed in this operation. Chhattisgarh police is going to submit a report to the Union Home Ministry on the ambush. The report will also be first shared with the Chief Minister's office. There is a possibility that the National Investigation Agency could take over the investigation into this case as well. Now, before I go to my reporters, let me just play out for you what Union Home Minister had to say before he left Assam, where he was campaigning. He cut short his visit and then rushed to Delhi for this crucial meeting, which has now begun.
जहाँ तक आंकड़े का सवाल है, मैं अभी कुछ कहना नहीं चाहता क्योंकि अभी सर्च ऑपरेशन चल रहा है, मगर दोनों ओर का नुकसान हुआ है। हमारे जवान शहीद हुए हैं। मैं उन सभी जवानों को श्रद्धांजलि भी देता हूं और उनके परिवारजनों को और देश को इतना विश्वास दिलाना चाहता हूं कि जवानों ने अपना खून जो देश के लिए बहाया है वो व्यर्थ नहीं जाएगा। हमारी लड़ाई और मजबूती के साथ और मक्कमता के साथ और तीव्रता के साथ इन नक्सलियों के खिलाफ चालू रहेगी और हम इसको परिणाम तक ले जाएंगे।
So what's happening there? Home Minister Amit Shah has started the meeting. Senior officers of the Union Home Ministry of the Naxal Division, officials from Intelligence Bureau, senior officers, special DG level of officers from the CRPF are all present in that meeting. Director General of CRPF was asked to rush to Chhattisgarh this morning after Home Minister spoke to Chief Minister Bhupesh Baghel, both of whom were campaigning for their respective parties in Assam, which goes to vote in about 48 hours from now. Now, what is happening in this meeting is the stock taking of the situation. Just to tell you a recap of how Union Home Minister had been asking officials to implement the anti-Naxal strategy. This is the time when TCOC is on, which is the tactical counter-offensive. Between February and June, just before monsoon hits, the CPI Maoist plans the maximum number of operations against security forces. Now, Basavanna Raju has taken over from Mullapalli Ganapati as the head of CPI Maoist, and he has an able commander called Hidma in this area of Bijapur. He is believed to be controlling the 1st Battalion of CPI Maoist. Now, the intelligence input was that it was Hidma who was hiding in that area. An operation was launched, and in that operation, the security forces lost about 23 personnel. There have been casualties on the side of Naxals as well. So that's the backdrop under which Home Minister Amit Shah is taking that meeting. We'll get you more details about what is being decided in that meeting as and when we hear from officials who are there. But also, let's also take you to the other big story that we are tracking here, which is the COVID situation in Maharashtra. Chief Minister Uddhav Thackeray chaired a cabinet meeting a short while back, and post that meeting, government has decided to impose partial lockdown to control the spread of the coronavirus. The cabinet has also decided to opt for weekend lockdowns till April 30th instead of complete lockdown as was being proposed, and people were apprehensive of that. This comes after Maharashtra reported nearly 50,000 cases yesterday.
जैसे कि पहले से ही रात को जो संचार बंदी चालू थी, अब उसमें ये बदलाव होगा कि सिर्फ एसेंशियल सर्विस वालों को ही रात में गाड़ी चलाने की परवानगी मिलेगी। 8 से लेकर सुबह 7 तक का जो है वो एसेंशियल सर्विस जो होगी, सिर्फ उन्हीं को गाड़ी चलाने की परवानगी मिलेगी। जिस तरीके से रेस्टोरेंट्स को, जो मॉल्स हो गए, दुकानें हो गए, ये सारे लोगों को पहले से ही रात में बंदी थी और उन लोगों को सिर्फ टेक अवे, यानी अभी सिर्फ जो है टेक अवे और पार्सल की जो है फैसिलिटी दी जाएगी, बाकी बंद किया जाएगा। जो थिएटर्स वगैरह हैं, नाट्य घर वगैरह है, इसको जो है टोटल जो है बंदी की गई है। ये लॉकडाउन थोड़ी है, ये तो हमने जो गाइडलाइंस है उसको कड़क किया है, जो SOPs है उसको कड़क किया है।
So not a complete lockdown, but a lot of restrictions for people in Maharashtra. What exactly has the government now implemented in terms of SOP? What they're saying is that there will be a night curfew from 8 at night to 6 in the morning. If you are in Maharashtra, stay at home. You will not be allowed to step outside. Only essential services will be allowed at night. So that's the first thing that the state cabinet has decided. There will be complete lockdown on weekends from Friday 8 p.m. to Monday morning about 6 a.m. There will be complete lockdown. So weekend lockdowns have been brought in. Restrictions on restaurants and religious places. Restaurants will only be allowed to deliver, and if you want to take away, there will be no dine-in facilities there. There are restrictions on public transport as well. Only so many people will be allowed in a public transport as are there number of seats available inside. So if it's a bus, if it's a train, that's the formula that the state cabinet has come up with. There will be checks on crowding during film shoots as well. So while films will be allowed to continue with their shoots, there will be constant checks on the number of people who are there. Government offices will work at only 50% capacity. That's the other restriction that the state cabinet has come up with. Work from home to be encouraged. So the private sector is being asked to encourage work from home. Those are the decisions taken by the state cabinet today after Uddhav Thackeray, the chief minister, chaired that meeting. Vinaya has been tracking that story very closely with me on the phone line. Vinaya, a lot of people were apprehensive about complete lockdown making a comeback into their lives. This, the state cabinet has found like a in-between solution?
Well, absolutely, Arunima. We have been seeing that though the Chief Minister was of the opinion that strict measures needed to be taken, there was stringent opposition from within the ruling alliance of Maharashtra Vikas Aghadi itself. So now the government says stricter rules will be kept in place for places like Mumbai over the weekends. All the tourist attractions, may it be Gateway of India, may it be Juhu Chowpatty, may it be the Girgaon Chowpatty, everything is going to stay shut. In this weekend lockdown, what is also important to note is that only those attending to essential services will be allowed to step out. Fines have been stepped up really. So 500 rupees is the fine now in Maharashtra anywhere if you fail to wear your mask on your nose and your mouth. Also, marriage halls will be slapped with a fine of 10,000 rupees every time there is a violation with respect to COVID norms, every time there is overcrowding, every time people do not follow social distancing, the marriage halls will have to cough out 10,000 rupees. So clearly more restrictions coming in. Further restrictions will be clarified only when the government releases the official SOPs. Sometime by tonight, we expect them to be out any minute. But clearly, the government here making its intent very clear that all those places and situations that lead to overcrowding will be avoided in the state henceforth.
And any first reactions from the stakeholders, people who are apprehensive that this could be a setback for the economy of Maharashtra?
Well, we have seen several industry leaders as well speak about this. So, those into film shootings and serial shootings have come out saying that there isn't a complete ban on shootings and that some restrictions we will ourselves have to follow. Some theatres have also offered their own vicinities to open makeshift hospitals. So clearly, in some sense, there has been some kind of formulation of consensus by the Chief Minister when he has held those meetings since the last 2 days. The opposition has clearly slammed this, saying that this is a backdoor entry of lockdown, and though there was strict opposition to this, the government has finally resorted to lockdown. Devendra Fadnavis has slammed the government, saying for all the last 4 months, the government failed miserably in preparing for this second wave, and it went lax.
Right. Vinaya, do hold on. We've been getting a lot of voices from the Maharashtra government. Let's listen in to Atul Bhatlalkar, who says that hefty fines will be imposed on those who flout the COVID norms in the state.
महाराष्ट्र की परिस्थिति मुख्यमंत्री उद्धव ठाकरे जी के निष्क्रियता के कारण हाथ के बाहर चली गई है। भारतीय जनता पार्टी इस कठिन समय में राज्य सरकार और महाराष्ट्र की जनता के साथ खड़ी है, लेकिन उन्होंने आम आदमी को आर्थिक स्वरूप की मदद करनी चाहिए। रेशन कार्ड पर फ्री ऑफ कॉस्ट अनाज देने की आवश्यकता है और केंद्र सरकार और महाराष्ट्र के हमारे जैसे विपक्ष के नेताओं के ऊपर जो आरोप इल्जाम लगाते हैं वो भी इन्होंने बंद करना चाहिए।
ज्या ठिकाणी खूप जवळून, तोंडाच्या जवळून येऊन किंवा शरीराच्या जवळून येऊन काम करावं लागतं, ते बार्बर म्हणजे केश कर्तनालय असेल, सलून असतील, ब्युटी पार्लर असतील वगैरे, ह्या सगळ्या गोष्टी सुद्धा बंद करण्याच्या संदर्भातला निर्णय आज मंत्रिमंडळाने त्या ठिकाणी घेण्यात आलेला आहे. लग्न आणि फ्युनरल याच्यामध्ये लग्नासाठी 50 आणि मौतींसाठी 20 अशा स्वरूपानेच लोक राहावेत. जर तसं नाही केलं तर लग्नाच्या समारंभ आयोजित करणाऱ्या लोकांना किंवा त्या तुमच्या मंगल कार्यालयावाल्याला सुद्धा 10,000 रुपयापर्यंतची फाईन लावण्याचा निर्णय सुद्धा कॅबिनेटनी या ठिकाणी घेण्यात आलेला आहे.
Vinaya Deshpande still with me. Vinaya, what's the word as far as the medical fraternity, the medical experts are concerned? Lockdown over weekend, night curfew, does it really help in breaking the chain?
Well, if you look at the medical expertise, really, Arunima, the advice of the COVID task force, which consists of all the top doctors of the state, clearly said that there is a necessity for lockdown-like situation. This situation specifically, the rise of number of cases calls for stricter action. Several doctors had also said that a lockdown will be better in order to break the chain, but at least with this weekend lockdowns or with night curfews, the doctors are, hopeful that this will somewhere break the chain, because if you see the COVID inappropriate behavior in Maharashtra, in major cities like Mumbai, was rampant. People were flouting norms. There were pubs and discs which had to face FIRs because there was overcrowding. People came out without masks, did not follow any social distancing restrictions. With night curfew in place now, the medical fraternity hopes that intermingling will reduce. People will not go out for restaurants, for dine-in facilities, because all of those facilities have been shut. So all these overcrowding incidents, which have led to a spike in the number of cases, the medical fraternity hopes that with these measures, that should help to bring the numbers under control.
All right. Vinaya, thank you so much for joining us. Vinaya Deshpande there telling us about the situation in Maharashtra. Maharashtra numbers are rising and they are contributing to the overall India tally as well. And the India tally is also extremely worrying. Prime Minister Narendra Modi chaired a high-level review meeting in light of the COVID cases spiking across several states in the country. Prime Minister today stressed on the five-fold strategy of testing, tracing, treatment, COVID-appropriate behavior and vaccination as critical to fighting the global pandemic. A special campaign for COVID-appropriate behavior will be organized on 6th of April till the 14th of April. This campaign will emphasize on 100% mask usage, personal hygiene and sanitation at public places and workplaces. Prime Minister called attention to avoid mortality by ramping up healthcare infrastructure, availability of oxygen and ventilators. So the Prime Minister has also taken note. Earlier, the Cabinet Secretary had also spoken to officials of the state government. India is taking the rising numbers very seriously. Yes, Maharashtra numbers are going up, but in the other parts of the country as well, the situation is grim. Payal Mehta with me on the broadcast. Payal, like we have been telling our viewers, the situation across the country is quite grim. The Prime Minister has intervened and asked people to wear the mask. But is vaccination drive or ramping up our vaccination drive also something that was on the table when the Prime Minister discussed this issue?
Well, the Prime Minister discussed the issue that is concerning the state, because, at least half a dozen states are looking at very high numbers and they're looking at another surge as far as COVID is concerned. The Prime Minister directed that for sustainable COVID management, the awareness of the community and the involvement of the community needs to be paramount. And that's one of the reasons he spoke about the Jan Bhagidari and he spoke about the Jan Andolan to fight COVID. He also mentioned that testing, tracing, treatment, COVID-appropriate behavior and vaccination, if implemented with the utmost seriousness, could help in effectively, managing this crisis as well. So obviously, a special campaign for COVID-appropriate behavior with emphasis on 100% usage of masks, personal hygiene and sanitation at public places, etc., will be organized between 6th and 14th April. That's what the direction of Prime Minister today has been. He also insisted that those who are eligible to get vaccinated, like the Prime Minister has been saying every now and then, should get themselves vaccinated, so that at least that's the only way in which you can actually escape COVID, which is turning out to be quite a deadly disease, given the fact that you're seeing the rise in the number of deaths and the number of cases that you've seen over the last couple of weeks. Arunima, we've not seen that throughout the entire lockdown period that we underwent last year. The cases were pretty much in control, but it seems the mutant level as far as this particular virus is concerned is quite deadly, and everybody, including the Prime Minister, is really concerned. So obviously, on one front, there are various central government teams which are being dispatched to these states to help in fighting the COVID menace, but the least that we as citizens can do is we can follow the COVID appropriate behavior. with the fact that, there are several festivals. For example, it's Easter today. Then in the coming few days, you'll have Vaisakhi and the Bengali New Year as well. So the Prime Minister is requesting everyone to make sure that they do not violate the COVID norms. But the way in which the election campaigning have been going on in all the election-bound states, it seems that everything is going for a toss.
Payal, do hold on, because the Prime Minister is not just fulfilling his duty as the head of the state or the leader of the country, but also as the leader of his political party. And that's the next piece of breaking news that we are getting. Prime Minister to address Bharatiya Janata Party workers via video conferencing on the 6th of April, which marks the party's foundation day. The address is scheduled at 10:30 a.m. JP Nadda and Amit Shah will be there, amongst others, who will address the party workers. Payal is the one who's getting us that. Payal, big day for the Bharatiya Janata Party. This will be on 6th of April, coming at a time when the Karyakartas in a lot of states are giving their sweat and blood in a way to ensure that the election wins are delivered to the BJP.
Well, it's a very, very important day for the Bharatiya Janata Party. It's 41 years since the party was founded in 1980. But, the junction took birth in 1951 by the efforts of Shama Prasad Mukherjee. And what a coincidence that Shama Prasad Mukherjee's dream was to see a government in Bengal as well. That's what the BJP really keeps pushing in terms of talking about Bengal as well. So the party Karyakartas are going to be getting a guidance from the Prime Minister, who will be addressing the party Karyakartas at 10:30 in the morning on the 6th of April. Of course, party National President JP Nadda will also be addressing the party Karyakartas. There will be a discussion as far as the party's working over the years has been also be there, and also how the central government schemes have spoken about Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas and Sabka Vishwas. So obviously guidelines will be given to the party Karyakartas from the Prime Minister himself in terms of how the party has seen a rise over the years and what the party really stands for. It stands for the welfare of all. That's what the guideline is going to be, and also how to take it forward, and how to encourage people to actually strengthen the party organization wise right from the booth onwards. So several directions likely to come in from the Prime Minister, and of course Prime Minister likely to also share some of his anecdotes and some of his experiences over the years with the party, from being the Chief Minister of Gujarat to being the Prime Minister of the country, looking into a second term right now.
All right, Payal, thank you so much for joining us. Payal Mehta there telling us about the party plans of the Bharatiya Janata Party on the occasion of the party's founder day. We are also getting shots now, visuals now, of that crucial meeting that Union Home Minister Amit Shah is chairing at his residence. We are told that senior Home Ministry officials, including Union Home Secretary, Special DG, there you see Ajay Bhalla, Union Home Secretary present there, Home Minister already giving directions, senior officers of the CRPF, Special DG level officer present there. You can also see the Director of Intelligence Bureau sitting in that meeting. With me on the broadcast, Shailendra Wangu tracks the Home Ministry फॉर नेटवर्क 18। शैलेंद्र, हम ये तस्वीरें देख रहे हैं गृह मंत्री की, आसाम से लौटे हैं और बिना वक्त गवाए उन्होंने गृह मंत्रालय के अफसरों को बुलाया है डिस्कस करने के लिए। एग्जैक्टली क्या है एजेंडे पे आज मीटिंग के?
अरुणिमा, आपने बिल्कुल ठीक कहा कि बैठक शुरू हुए करीब 15-20 मिनट बीत चुके हैं और बैठक में सीआरपीएफ के स्पेशल डीजी संजय चंदर मौजूद हैं और माना यह जा रहा है कि कल जिस तरह से एक बड़ा नक्सली हमला हुआ है, हालांकि ऑपरेशन जो चलाया जा रहा था नक्सलियों के खिलाफ, कहीं ना कहीं उसमें क्रॉस फायर हुआ और एक उसमें जो अटैक हुआ नक्सलियों की तरफ से, जिसमें बड़ी तादाद में 23 जवान शहीद हुए हैं। हालांकि ये भी बताया जा रहा है कि नक्सलियों को भी बहुत बड़ा नुकसान इसमें पहुंचा है, लेकिन इस पूरी घटना के पीछे, इस पूरी वारदात के पीछे क्या कारण रहे हैं, कहाँ लैप्स रहा है, क्योंकि ये एक बहुत बड़ा इंसिडेंट इसको माना जा रहा है और अब से 1 साल पहले ही ऐसा एक इंसिडेंट 23 मार्च को हुआ था जिसमें 17 जवान शहीद हुए थे। तो ये बहुत बड़ा हमला इसको माना जा रहा है। इसीलिए इसकी गंभीरता को देखते हुए गृह मंत्री अमित शाह ने अपना असम दौरा कट शॉर्ट करके वो आज जल्दी लौट आए हैं दिल्ली और अब गृह मंत्री के आवास पर ये बैठक चल रही है। गृह मंत्री के ऑफिस ने हमको कंफर्म किया है कि इस बैठक में सीआरपीएफ के जो स्पेशल डीजी हैं वो मौजूद हैं, वहीं साथ ही साथ होम सेक्रेटरी ए.के. भल्ला, डायरेक्टर आईबी और गृह मंत्रालय के आला अधिकारी भी इस बैठक में मौजूद हैं। तो कहीं ना कहीं असेस किया यह जा रहा है कि क्या कुछ कल बीता है और किस तरह से आने वाले वक्त में ऑपरेशन को और तेज किया जा सकता है नक्सलियों के खिलाफ, और इस अटैक के पीछे किसका हाथ है, उसके खिलाफ आने वाले दिनों में क्या कार्रवाई की जा सकती है। इन तमाम पहलुओं पर डायरेक्टर आईबी से भी इनपुट लिए जा रहे हो। तो माना जा रहा है कि बैठक से कहीं न कहीं निर्देश भी दिए जाएंगे केंद्र की तरफ से कि आने वाले दिनों में किस तरह के ऑपरेशन नक्सलियों के खिलाफ चलाए जाएंगे।
शैलेंद्र, बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया हमारे साथ जुड़ने के लिए। नजर बनाए रखिएगा इस खबर पे। शैलेंद्र वांगू देयर टेलिंग us about senior officers who are meeting Union Home Minister. The meeting began about 15-20 minutes back and we are expecting some kind of direction, some kind of re-strategizing about how to take on the CPI Maoists. This is the time when TCOC is going on. CPI Maoists will try and inflict maximum casualty on our security forces. Political news now. Ahead of third round of voting, the Bharatiya Janata Party released audio tapes of alleged conversation between Ganesh Bagadia, close aide of Anup Maji, a notorious gangster who's also an accused in the coal smuggling case, and a Bengal government officer. The tape alleges corruption by Abhishek Banerjee. The Trinamool Congress has responded to the row, saying the audio tapes are not verified and are concocted. TMC MP Derek O'Brien attacked the BJP, alleging that these stories are being planted because of the ongoing elections in the state. In the tapes, Ganesh Bagadia can be heard saying that Mamta's nephew Abhishek Banerjee is only interested in minting money and extortion.
Did Mamta Banerjee actually look the other way while her nephew was presiding over these syndicates that were bleeding the state and a large amount of illegal fund was being collected? It emerges from these tapes that money is up to 40 crore rupees per month was being sent to Abhishek Banerjee.
This is not verified. If this is not a verified tape, we feel it is below our dignity to even respond to a party who know they have been demolished in the first two phases of the election.
Shaukato Mukhopadhyay with me on the broadcast. Shaukato, already when TMC leaders were quitting TMC and moving to BJP, they were pointing fingers at Mamta Banerjee's love for her nephew, at Abhishek Banerjee's alleged corruption. Now, just ahead of elections in Diamond Harbour, Abhishek Banerjee's constituency, BJP through this tape is just rubbing it in. Isn't TMC worried?
You're absolutely right that the political strategy vis-a-vis these audio tapes are timed in a manner so that the Trinamool Congress feels the pinch where it hurts them the most. Obviously, three things that are now clear from the BJP's allegation about these tapes, the so-called tapes between Ganesh Bagadia and who's a businessman, and another unidentified person, supposedly an investigator. But the 3 points that come out of these tapes, one of course is it brings and the BJP now brings the corruption allegation right at Mamata Banerjee's doorstep. It's not just Abhishek Banerjee anymore. It is now, according to the BJP, Mamata Banerjee playing the role of a Dhritarashtra and turning a blind eye towards certain corruption activities that were allegedly being carried out by Abhishek Banerjee. Of course, that is something that the BJP will have to prove in the wake of the investigations that are currently going on. Second, of course, is the amount of money that has now been brought out in the public domain, and according to the BJP, the sum is around 900 crore rupees. That's what Shubhendu Adhikari alleges has been transferred from these coal mines and sand mines. And of course also from the proceeds from cattle smuggling onto Kolkata or to Abhishek Banerjee is the allegation. That's the sum that they are talking about. And third, of course, is the fact that this is right ahead of the third phase of polls, and third and fourth phases, as you know, would be in one of the major districts in which third and fourth phases of elections will happen is South 24 Parganas, and Diamond Harbour is in the third phase itself. So the entire Diamond Harbour region would fall in the third phase, and of course there are others which will be in fourth phases as well, which are known to be Trinamool Congress and Abhishek Banerjee strongholds. So obviously, in the wake of that, the appeal that the BJP has made to the people that you need to be aware as to who you are voting for. Obviously it's a political war at its height.
Shaukato Mukhopadhyay, thank you so much for joining us. Shaukato was explaining the impact that this audio tape could have as Diamond Harbour and then the Hooghly area gears up to vote in the third phase. Let's listen into that audio tape now, which is at the center of BJP's allegation against Abhishek Banerjee and against Mamta Banerjee.
तो वहाँ और कोई एवेन्यूज वगैरह नहीं है क्या? क्या चीज जैसा माइंस एरिया है, हाँ ईजी जहाँ सबसे ज्यादा हो, हाँ वही होगा। एक ये था, एक वो कैटल था, हाँ कैटल वाला तो गजब ही ये लगता है, हाँ तो ये इसका मतलब वो जो अभिषेक है वो क्रिमिनल माइंड का है क्या? हाँ कितना मर्डर देख रहे हैं तो उसी के हिसाब
और क्या था सर, किसकी हिम्मत है सर?
पब्लिक क्यों नहीं उसके अगेंस्ट होती सर?
देखिए क्या होता है ना, हमने सर को बताया कि ममता बनर्जी एक इतना बड़ा लाइन खींचती है ऊपर जाने के लिए, अभिषेक बनर्जी इतना बड़ा लाइन नीचे खींच देता है।
तो ये वो उनको नहीं पता होगा, वो क्यों नहीं कुछ उसको बोलता?
एक चीज बताइए, मैडम था ना, धृतराष्ट्र होता है ना, धृतराष्ट्र, बस मैडम धृतराष्ट्र,
तो उन तक भी तो इन्फॉर्मेशन जाता होगा ना।
धृतराष्ट्र बन गया ना, बच्चा काम नहीं करने देते हो तो इसलिए तो सब अच्छे सीनियर छोड़ के गए हमें ड्यू टू अभिषेक। चाहे मुकुल राय बोलिए, सब्यसाची दत्ता बोलिए, शोभन चटर्जी बोलिए, फिर आप
अधिकारी
सब और भी जाने के लिए तैयार है, कोई खुश नहीं है इससे। पॉलिटिक्स में जो इतना ग्राउंड से लोग तैयार किया है टीएमसी पर, उसके बाद एक सीनियर लीडर की रिस्पेक्ट नहीं है, तो कौन रहेगा सर? ये लोग क्या करेंगे सर? इतनी बदमाश, घर में आग लगवा देंगे,
ये भी कर देते हैं
पब्लिक के थ्रू, पुलिस आएगी नहीं, फैक्ट्री में लुटवा देंगे।
तो इनके पास इस तरह के मैन पावर है क्या?
पॉलिटिकल पार्टी में क्या नहीं है सर, पुलिस नहीं आना चाहिए, वो लोग तो सब कुछ कर सकते हैं। और अगर कुछ ज्यादा करना होगा तो मेरे जो भी इस्टेब्लिशमेंट उसमें घर में या फिर गांजा रखवा देंगे, जाली नोट रखवा देंगे, आर्म्स रखवा देंगे, केस करवा देंगे। तो देखे हुए ना सर, ये अभिषेक बनर्जी ये लास्ट टर्म में अभी 5 साल में इतना एनडीपीएस केस करवाया है ना अपोजिशन के, पुलिस वाला लोग थक गया, इसलिए बहुत है, इससे बहुत डेंजरस।
तो वो फिर कैसे फंड का ट्रांसमिशन कैसे करता था? तो वो कहानी नहीं आप लोग को पता है? कहानी तो बताया होगा ना किसी ने?
नहीं बताया होगा, लेकिन उतना मेरे को याद नहीं है। लेकिन सब अपना कोर ग्रुप रहता है ना सर, वो बातें बाहर नहीं आ पाती।
लेकिन फिर भी चूंकि अब इन सब से इन्वॉल्व हुए तो पता नहीं चलता है कि उनका फंडिंग कैसे जाता था वहाँ, पॉलिटिकल जो फंडिंग।
यही इसी के यही
कौन? अशोक विनय, विनय के थ्रू ये शुरू से विनय ही देख, शुरू से विनय देख रहा है, शुरू से ही विनय देख रहा है। कब से
टीएमसी गवर्नमेंट आई है उसके समझ लीजिए 1.5 साल बाद से चालू हो गया था, 12-13 से चालू हो गया था।
So will this tape have an impact on the voters of Bengal as they get ready to vote in the third phase? That's what the Bharatiya Janata Party and the Trinamool Congress will be closely watching. That's it from me. But all these stories up on our website news18.com. Stay here for more news and updates. Thanks for watching.
Network 18, India's biggest news network, wins big at News Broadcasting Awards 2020 with a whopping 75 awards. CNN News 18 receives 10 awards at ENBA 2020. CNN News 18, on your side.